Hello and welcome to the Community Voice. I'm Fara Sax. This Holocaust series aims to honor the voices and memories of those who survived the Holocaust, as well as to pay tribute to whose voices were tragically silenced. It also provides a space for living descendants to reflect on the importance of preserving these histories, ensuring the legacies of their loved one lives on, and making certain their stories are never forgotten. Meet Holocaust survivor Jack Waksal, who is about to turn 101 in September. His journey began in Poland. Jack, thank you so much for joining me today.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, and you came all the way from Miami Beach to be with me.
Yes, absolutely. And it's great to do this, what you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much. I wish I had 245,000 other Holocaust survivors here with me.
I wish they would do this in the beginning, what I did when we started up in the 60s in Dayton, Ohio.
In Dayton, Ohio?
That's what I did. Yes.
What did you do in Dayton, Ohio?
I used to be in business in Dayton, Ohio. They sent me, when I come to the United States, the community sent me to Dayton, Ohio. That's what they did. In 1950, I arrived in the United States.
So let's go back. This memoir that was so beautifully written by Bobby Kaufman recalls your story. Take me back to when you were that young boy in Poland and what was going on.
I was born in Poland in Yadinsk. That was not far away from Radom. And it was 12 kilometers. And the other side, Warsaw, was 90 kilometers. And we was in the middle, small towns. And we got a wonderful house. We was Orthodox. My father was Samuel, Shlomo on Yiddish. My mother was Pesa. My brother, the oldest one, was Yechiel. And my sister was Yocheved. And the younger sister was Brucha, and I am Yitzhak, and I survived the war. Nobody survived in my family.
Take me back to that time when you realized something was going on.
What I'm going to bring you up in the beginning, when I become, it was between 37 it start anti-Semitism in Poland, in the small towns, more than every place else, starting to break the glass in the synagogues, to hitting Jewish when they go into the synagogue. It was unbelievable starting live when it starts in September the 37, when Hitler come up with speeches in the 38 that we're going to take over Poland. The Polish people liked it. It was a lot of Germans living in Poland. And that's when it started anti-Semitism more and more. We got such a good life. It was living in Poland, 3.5 million Jewish people. And they were so unbelievable, particularly Orthodox. It was Reform people was in the big states, Warsaw or this. Small states was just unbelievable Hasidic. Mostly every day, 3 times a day, to go to the synagogue. When kids started up, they went to Hagit. They went to public school, like me, went to public school, into the Hagit, and to learn everything in Judaism and everything else. Our house was unbelievable with my brother, with my sister. We got the best life when we lived in Poland. That's what I used to do it. To bring up to when the Germans come in at was in 39 in September, and it was in my birthday, before the high holidays, a day or 2 days, something like this. When they come around, but they took hostages. They took hostages, and I followed in. You know, we went down. They have a loudspeaker that some Jewish people should come out. We went out, me and my brother and some other people. We was maybe more than 50 people. They took us on a truck to Radom and put us in on the floor. And that's what they happened. And they said to us, you have to holler, one Jew is responsible for the next Jew. And we not to stop it the whole night. We was laying on the ground floor. If Warsaw is not going to be fell, you going to be killed. Warsaw fell the night in the morning. When Warsaw fell, they let us loose. We walked home 12 kilometers back to our city. And that's what starting to go and put it close one of the third day. The Polish people helped burn up the synagogue. We got one synagogue in Jedlinsk, and they burned up, and the people, the Polish, no fire department was allowed to go ahead to do a stop to burn up the synagogue, because the Poles was with them and the Germans was agree on it, and that's all what happened. And we lost the synagogue when the Germans come in 1939 in September.
Did you think it was going to escalate even more? Did you know that there was going to be? Did you understand that this was going to get even worse at that time? Did you collectively know that?
We would never think about it in the beginning that it's going to be starting Auschwitz or a camps or something like this. We thought about it, they're going to take us to work, because we can go ahead and work, and we was never think about it in the beginning, no. The only thing is when they come in, they took away stores, Jewish stores, give it over to the Gentiles. No synagogue to go. No place, no school. Jewish kids couldn't go to public school anymore. And that's how life was going on. It was starting up every day in Jedlinsk. You have to go to work in the morning, 7 o'clock, to go outside, and they took you. And you have to do it whatever the Germans start telling you to do it.
Your family, what kind of work were they in before the war?
But my father was a shochet.
A butcher.
If you know what it is.
A butcher.
And he was a moil, too. We got a good home in the best life, what we got, to go to Hagit, to go to public school, and to do what we need to do it for the family and everything to help. Before the war, we got kids like they grown up,
And then
the mother and father.
And what happened for money? What did you do for money? Or was it when you worked, were you paid? Were you given food? How did this?
They didn't, when the Germans come in, you're talking about?
Yeah.
No money. They didn't give the people money. It was, if they took it away, or if you save it, or something. If some people saved the money, then they could go ahead and buy something. It was the established kitchen in each small town. But I'm going to come to it. It was like when they starting 3 weeks later in Yedlins, they made a ghetto. When they made a ghetto, they started making ghettos in small towns. From us to Warsaw, from the side, in the other side to Radom, and that's what they did, what they called it ghettos.
Talk about the ghetto. Talk about that ghetto. Talk about what was going on.
In the ghetto was going on what they did. They closed up. They give 7 blocks in the houses. How many people was living in Yedlins? Some of them have to live 2 families, not just 1 family, because they didn't give you enough.
So it was crowded, and you didn't have what you needed, and it was getting into the winter too.
Nothing.
They had nothing. They took everything away.
Everything they took it away from Jews. The only thing what they did is what they support you, and that's the only thing what you can do it is for the ghetto. They established a kitchen that you have to stay in the line. You cook a meal. You got 1 meal a day. The Germans give you to cook, for the kitchen, and the Jewish mothers was working in the kitchen and they cook.
Jack,
That's what happened every day. You have to go to work 7 till 6 o'clock in the evening. When you come back, you could stop it and get a soup or something, and that's all what it was.
Jack, what is it like to be hungry?
It was, in the beginning, when I was a kid, I didn't understood a lot of things in life.
How old were you then? How old were you then?
Huh?
How old were you then? When this was starting?
I was 16 years old.
Okay, so when it first started, you didn't really know what was going on, but as time went on, what happened?
What we did, we tried to go to work. The father and mother, going down the house. 2 of them, or the 3, my older sister, my sister was older, 1, and my brother was older than me. And every one of us, every day we went to work. When we went to work, I thought that life will go on when they finish up the war or something. It's going to be a difference.
And it was never different.
It never changed.
But what is it like to be hungry?
Huh?
What is it like to be hungry?
It was so terrible. Sometimes you didn't want to even live. It was unbelievable that some of them commit suicide in even a small town like we was living. And that's what happened to the starting up in the beginning for Jewish people. And that's how a whole year was going on in the ghettos. But 1940, already, they was thinking about it, to liquidating a lot of small ghettos, take them to camps. And what they did in February in 1940 already, it was pretty close to, May or something. All of a sudden, they come up with a loudspeaker. Everybody have to go down outside. The whole town. You couldn't take nothing. Then the liquidation, what they started up, and they tell you, no things. If you brought something down, you have to put it away in the side, staying in the line. And when they took us to the first camp, and they took the mothers in what they got little kids, when they took them out to be liquidated together, they asked the mother, what do you want to give up your kid? Or do you want to go with the kid? The Muslim mothers went with the kid. And they throw them in, they make graves with the standing by. The Jewish people has to do the graves. We did the graves and everything. And they starting. And you have to watch it. They didn't use bullets for the kids. They threw them in the grave. And when they finished up the liquidation from the mothers and this, the mothers went with the kids, some of them. And that's what happened 2 days before they finished liquidation. It was no babies to send it. Or they send some of them to another ghetto, or they send them to the name of the camp. The first camp was Kurshini Truppen Übungsplatz. Fortunately, my mother, my father, my 2 sisters, and my brother, they took us, all of us, and they put us in this camp. And that's what we got in the beginning, already pretty close to May in the 40s. And they liquidate all the small ghettos from Radom. It was a lot of other small towns. And that's what happened. But the liquidation, some of them, they killed right away, and some of them was just liquidate the kid. It was unbelievable to look at that and to stay and to see how they take little babies and later throw a sand over them alive. It was not to believe it. You could not believe it.
If you didn't see
what was going on.
Jack, here we are many, many years from that event. Do you still see it in your mind? Do you like it was yesterday? When you're telling me the story, do you see the pictures that you're telling me?
Absolutely. It never went away from my head. What I saw in my life, what I saw what they did. I called my brothers and sisters, and they killed him. And it was unbelievable to believe it.
And to be there.
You have to see it we thought something happened to the Jewish people. We didn't even know the parents. Something happened that to the people that my father was intelligent and everything else in Polish, in Jewish, and everything. And it was not to understand what happened to the Jewish people. The liquidation, nobody was talking about it. That we were seeing already the liquidation of the Jewish people in Poland. We didn't know it, what happened in some other countries when they took over. But that's all and think what we saw it with our own eyes, what happened in Poland.
Let's move forward in this story, your history. You were in the forest.
Yes.
Get me to the forest. How did you get to the forest? How did you escape? Talk about that moment.
What happened when they finished, in the big, it happened in November 1941. In 1941, they liquidate this camp because the Russians
are coming in.
Getting
ready, all the evidence.
They wanted to liquidate this camp. We were 1,600 people in this camp. Men, women, kids, everything. When they liquidated, they never told you something, they're going to do something. You have to stay 4 o'clock. They took it out from the camp, put us 4 on the line, and we know right away it's going to be a killing if they doing this. Before I try to tell you, any time when it happened, a Jewish holiday, a Pesach, Sukkot, all the time they take out people to get killed. And they show you how, where you got. When it happened to rabbis, he comes out with a tallis and twill on the head, and they killed him. And they show you, look, no God for Jewish people. And that's what happened. And that's what I'm going to bring you up when they come up. That was in November. There was over 1,600 people. By 4 o'clock in the evening, it was already starting to get dark in Poland. And they took out a guy in front of me. And later they took my father. And I know right away that he's going to be killed. I said to the German, take me for this guy. When I told him, he picked me up here like this, pulled me out, and pushed my father back. I was happy. Did I know that I'm going to be killed? Yeah, probably, yes. I didn't care. And when they come out with over 50-some people in the beginning, it was already after 4 o'clock in November, and they said, we're going to go to the forest. It was not far away from the forest where they make the grave. And they put us in, you have to walk single-wise, one inch underneath the other. And when we come to the grave, told us to kneel down. When we kneel down, the officer was in the one side and the left, and the rest of them, the SS, Ukraine, was working with the Germans. They was with the guns, and they said, they asked the officer, when we going to start shooting? He said, I'm going to show you how to do it. When I go after my pistol, I'm going to show you how to do it. And I said to the guy in the front, I was the second in the line. I said, if he's going to go for the gun, before he got, I talked to him Polish, and I said, get up and let's fight. And that's when he started to go after the gun, we did it. And it was close to the grave, and we was fighting. We fell in the grave, all the three of us, with the German, and he started to holler on German, not shooting. If not, they would kill him too. And I don't know what had come to me. Run. I went a grave over 10 feet long, more than 8 feet the width, the deep over 5 feet. I was good in running. I was good, and I jumped over on the other side. I went in the nighttime in the forest. I was a month time in the forest, and I have to go steal food to go to eat for the farmers, which it was a terrible thing. No water. I have to steal. Go. It was unbelievable. Never could drink water more than a month timing. And something said to me, I cannot live. I have to go to another camp. After a month being in the forest, I went into another camp in the nighttime. And that's how I started up in the other camp. It was an airport, the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
And we was working at the Air Force, loading up bombs for the Germans, helping and everything else. And that's when it happened that every time, at least on this camp, they give us food. You got a soup, and you got water.
Mm-hmm.
I could drink it, and it come back to me, and that's how I lost already my father.
Yeah.
My mother, and they killed the next day by taking them away to go to the other camps. They killed the next day half from the 1,600 people. They killed them before they sent the rest of them away to another ghetto or to another camp.
But you spent a lot of time in the forest.
Yes.
So how long were you there totally?
Over 5 years.
In the forest?
No, in the forest, 6 to 7 months.
And then
the end of the
war.
The end of the war.
And then you were liberated, or then
I was liberated by the Russians in 1945. In the beginning, the first after New Year, the Russians come through with the tanks. We didn't went out. We was afraid. We was from 15 people We were 6 people. A lot of them got always killed. I was always under the machine gun a few times laying down, but they catch me and I run away too. And that's what happened. It was 6 months later when the Russians come in. I was liberated. And the next day we have to bring up, if you got a shirt, a white one, to go out, picked up our hands, and they wouldn't believe it that we are Jews. I said, take me to an office, what you got. And maybe it is a Jewish officer or something. And that's what they did. And that's how they said, yeah, you Jewish. Yeah.
In the time we have left, I know we talked a lot about your story. What did you feel like the U.S. role should have been, and what was it? And I know you have a lot of feelings about that, what they didn't do to help.
You're talking about it, the people, America?
Yeah, the United States at that time.
When I saw it, when I come in 1950 to the United States, and I, was at the UJA, the agency, and they told me, forget about it. Don't think about it, what happened. And I looked at them and I said, what are you talking about it? How can you even say it? You know what I did? I lost my father and mother, my brother, my sister. How can I forget it? I can never forget it in my life, what happened to us. And that's what you try to tell me, to the leaders. That's what I told them. I was against it, what they say in the beginning. And we was in Dayton, 25 or something like this. They ended in after the war, they come into the United States, and it was they call us refugees. In the Yiddish, they call us a greener. The greener are here. And we was never brought up into those. We try to be nice and everything else, and it never worked. And finally, they starting up in Dayton what we did in the beginning to be made in when it was 3 synagogues in Dayton. And that's when they give in and they said, we was wrong. At least they admitted what we did wrong.
Absolutely.
In the beginning, in this. And I said, I'm so happy. And it happened, but the young leadership, when the younger leadership took over, he become president or something in this. And that was unbelievable so much, which later I got kids. With their kids, they went to school together, to the American, and I was so happy that happened. And I said, finally, and I have to thank you for it. And it was going around. I went to school with my lovely wife. Her name was Sabina. She was in
We have
Auschwitz.
a picture of her. We have a picture of Sabina.
Yes. She was in Auschwitz. And this. Later, they took her out from Auschwitz, took her to Bergen-Belsen, to other camps in Germany, and this. And when she survived in this, that was my life, because I was with her in every camp. We grew up together. She was from my city, from Yedlins.
You've known her for you knew her for a very long time, since you were
Yeah.
6 years old?
Huh?
Since you were 6 years old?
Yes.
This is a beautiful love story.
Yes. And unbelievable. What she did to me, it's unbelievable. I couldn't believe it in the beginning that I could make out alive, you know.
And you
to go
did.
and live after the war. Because what I lost, I was so bitter on the world that I didn't want to live.
We're living in a time right now where there's so much tragedy with October 7th. How do you feel about what is going on in this time in
When
history?
it happened October 7, what I want to bring it up, I called the museum here in Florida,
The Holocaust
the
Museum?
Holocaust
Mhm.
Museum,
Memorial.
and I said, you know what happened? Another Holocaust. That is not regular. You know, to me, that's happened another Holocaust. If we could be killed in Israel, then something is not right on the world. What happened to the Jews? Or our government goofed or something happened? In this, in unbelievable, it was days that I was afraid to sleep.
Mm.
I was afraid that I can be killed in my house. And that's what happened. All the time they ask me, what do you think now? I never think about it. The only thing what I think is that our anti-Semitism, what's going on in the United States, in the Holocaust, happened that everybody wouldn't believe it. And the people, Jewish people, are against Israel no matter what they did. What happened to the women? They never stand up. What happened to little kids when they killed it? The women never come out with a statement condemn them. Nobody did. Unbelievable in life to see. Then that's what I said. That's what I was teaching some kids when I went to school, and tell them, look what happened. It's the same thing.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing. They learn from the Germans, and they took pictures how to kill, and that's what they kill. And then we let it happen. Something is not right. And that is my mind can never go away a difference. What happened when my wife come back, she was liberated. When she come back, and she come back to my city, to Yedlins, in the beginning it was in the end of April when she was liberated. When she come back, and I was not in Yedlins, I was with the Russian army
Right.
in Germany. And that's a Polish guy from my city, a young guy, it was my age. And he knew me very well. And he said, you want to believe it? They called me Jack this time, yeah. Sabine is alive. I said, you're a liar. Yeah. That's what I said. But he picked up his hand and he said, if I swear to you, Sabine is alive. I went to the officer and said, can I go back to Poland? And because that was all in Germany, but they give it, the Russians give it over the city.
How long were you and Sabina married?
Huh?
How long were you married?
65, over 65.
So, Jack, you're 100, almost 101.
Yeah.
What advice, what message, what's your legacy? What do you want people to know I have like 30 seconds left about what you went through, your life now, and you made a beautiful life for yourself with beautiful family.
What I think is my wife, I have to give it all credit in life. What she said to me, you know, I was in Auschwitz, I'm never going to have kids. And I said to her, what do you want the kids for? You saw it. You were standing by what they did with the babies. Another 50 years, we're going to have kids. They're going to do the same thing to the Jewish people. And that's what advice I give to the people, Jews in the United States. They should stand up for anti-Semitism, and they should stay with Israel. It never happen again. Never should happen to kill Jewish people in my life.
Jack Waksal, thank you so much for this time together. Thank you for telling me some of your story. I know there's a lot more, and I want
a lot more.
You'll come back again.
Yes.
Till 120, okay?
Amen.
Amen. And I want to thank you for joining me today. Until next time, I'm Fara Sax. Take care of yourselves and each other. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.